Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube tutorials. Today we're going to be doing a unicorn cake topper, of course. I have been saying for the longest while, if I ever start a YouTube channel, the first cake topper I will do will be a unicorn, of course, because it has been trending for the past few years and I've done a couple of them. So let's get right to the video. So we're going to need a few items. These are just a few of them. The rest are listed in the video later on. Now, if you have a styrofoam dummy, that would be perfect. But in my country, they're not available. So what I did was take a scrap of styrofoam and I used a cookie cutter that would fit perfectly into my glass, or any size glass you wish to use, or you can use a cup, as long as it's sturdy and it has a hollow base. And I made sure that it was cut snug fit into that glass. Also, you would need a wooden skewer, a bamboo skewer, or maybe if you do have a plastic skewer, that is perfect. Black fondant, white fondant, and yellow fondant. I'll explain the yellow fondant later. First, we're going to get started by inserting our bamboo skewer at a 90-degree angle into our base, whether it be your styrofoam board or you're making a contraption like I did. Now you want to make sure that this is perfectly straight and standing tall, so I use a ruler as a guide, and also, as you can see, mine's measure at 6 inches in height. This is the height in which I would love my unicorn horn to be on the top of my cake. To make my horn, I'll be using my yellow piece of fondant. I will be rolling my fondant in a back and forward motion, creating a tip at an angle. And I will be doing this generously. It took me about 10 to 15 minutes just to roll this because I took my time, and what I aimed for was a very long cone shape. And this measured up at least about 22 inches, and that was exactly enough what I needed to wrap around my 6-inch skewer. Now I'm just damping my skewer so that my fondant can be snug to it and be secure, and it wouldn't necessarily move when I pick it up. And I'm just going to twirl this right around to the top. Now don't panic if you see that it has a little bit remaining at the tip. All you can do is just play with your fondant a little bit, twirling it up the skewer, and that will just do the trick. Moving on to the ears. Now we will need 2 toothpicks, 2 leaf cutters, a large and a small. Also, you would need a yellow piece and a white piece of fondant. Now I'm going to roll out my white piece of fondant firstly. Not too thick, about 1/4 inch thick, just thick enough so that my toothpicks can go through without, leaving a big indentation. Also, after I cut the shapes of the ears out using the biggest cutter with the white piece of fondant, I would smooth out the edges. I would either do this on a countertop or I'll do this by my hand. This is just to give the ears a little bit more of a soft finish. To fill the inside of the ear, I will be using my yellow piece of fondant. I will roll that a lot more thinner, and I would use the smaller cutter, not putting it exactly on the inside, but a little bit more out, just so that it has more white showing than yellow. And I will secure that onto my white fondant by rolling it with my rolling pin. Now I will be cutting off the base of these just so that I could put in my toothpicks. Very easier, and in any case, when I fold them, I still end up with a tip at the bottom, and I also secure that in my cake. Moving on to the eyes. Now I have a piece of fondant that I've rolled like a very thin rope, and this is 4 inches in length. I cut it in half, and then I would tin out each end, and this will take me up to 2.5 inches. I use my ruler to measure this just so that both of my eyes can be equal length and they don't look off. Okay, so I've done this a couple times and it's easy for me to just use my finger as a guide. So what I do, I bend the inside of the eyelashes inward, and then I would use my finger as a guide on the inside to give me that curve like an N. Then I would put my index finger to the tip and create the eyelash curving up. I hope you guys understand that. Now I can stay there, but I always love to see that extra little lash at the ends of my eyelashes. So I rolled out a 1-inch piece of fondant, and then I got 1/2 inch on each. And I just put those where the curve of the eyelashes start and secured them by just pressing them gently together. So it's time to start my paint job, and I'm using the Egyptian Gold, a soft bristle brush. I find that works best. You get a nice finish. It's smoother when you're painting onto your fondant. Also, I'm using a very strong rum. You can use any white rum, but this one is from my country. I'll be using it for cake purposes today. Maybe after the video I'll drink some, who knows. But you want to mix your rum with your dust, your gold dust, at a very thick consistency, not too dry, not that it's falling off of dripping off of your brush. And you just want to take your time. Sometimes I do this over about 2 or 3 times just to get a smooth finish. Now, remember I told you about that yellow fondant? I find it best to use yellow fondant, especially when you want a bright finished gold. There is something about it that just gives that extra oomph because it has something to carry the color. If you wanted a more bronze or dark gold, then you can use a brown as a base. It works perfect. If you're using white fondant, it may work out perfectly fine depending on the brand of gold dust that you're using, and it may not be as bright, but it still works perfectly fine. Always remember to clean up your work when you're finished. I made a few smudges on my way, and I just had to get it all cleaned up using a damp brush and leaving that to dry. So here's the finish of my product. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember to like, subscribe, give it a thumbs up. Look forward for more videos from myself. Comment underneath what you think my next video should be. Thank you.